Hey everyone, how's it going? Andrew here, and I have Mustapha with me today. Mustapha, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great, Andrew. I'm happy to be here. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm happy too. I'm always happy, in general, and to be here as well. so today we're just mixing things up a little bit, because we have some different things going on and everything. But before we get into that, Mustapha, I just wanted to ask you, how have you been? How have things been going? What's been going on in your world?
Ugh, things have been busy. Life is on fire right now. We are making some really, really solid progress on our game project. So that's been really eating up a lot of my time. I've also uh, been I have a series I'm doing for YouTube that I'm kind of hoping to have episodes up every other Friday from now through the end of the year. So I'm keeping busy for sure. At all costs, it seems.
That's awesome, and really good to hear about like the progress you've been making and all those other endeavors that you have going on. I mean, just it's always good to be busy. I would
Yeah, I
say,
appreciate it.
especially at the rate that you're going and everything. So really exciting stuff. And I would have to say that I would share a bit of that myself. Is just a lot of busy with client projects, and not only that, but there are some things that are winding down for me. But at the same time, I'm getting like super busy with really honing in and focusing on other projects that I haven't really had the time to do all year before, which is really exciting. To be quite honest, because I'm sure a lot of you can relate too. Is when you have some, maybe not necessarily downtime in a way, but like you can have different time dedicated to doing those certain really important projects that you have to focus on. It can be really empowering once you have the ability to do that, which kind of leads us into why we're here talking today. Because what in light of what Mustapha shared and the things that I've been working on, we're actually planning on taking a little bit of a hiatus, and probably until the end of the year. So really, that's just about a couple of months. So really, not that long if you think about it. But I think the one thing we're probably going to talk about just a little bit before we go on to some other things that we have planned in the future is kind of the importance of kind of like taking that time out for you, for yourself, to really hone in and focus on those things. And quite honestly, for us too, it was a little bit of a tough decision to do that. But honestly, the more we thought about it, the more that we have, and I'll let Mustafa speak a little bit to on his end as well to this too. But the more that we thought about, the more it just seemed like it was the right thing to do. And even though it's a challenge, even though we absolutely love being here and on the show and producing the content that we are for everyone else, um, it still seemed like the right thing to do, because at the end of the day, I mean, and this the same goes for everybody else listening. You really have to focus on what's really important for you. What's the one thing that you can do to really move you forward in advance to what your goals are and everything else. And so that's what we were kind of faced with, trying to make that decision and everything else. And I know I make it probably sound a lot bigger than what it really is in the grand scheme of things. We're talking about 2 months here, but still, I mean, this is a big part of what we do and what we enjoy doing too. So for us, at least, it's definitely kind of a big deal, I guess, in a way. I mean, Mustafa, could you agree to that to some extent in terms of like deciding about like taking this hiatus and the
For
importance of it?
sure. I mean, putting a pause on anything is kind of a tough decision to come to, but we've done a lot to be proud of this year. We've had some of our exciting, I think, some of the highest profile and on the highest quality episodes we've been able to produce to date this year. And we've made changes to the format that have allowed us to more consistently maintain that bi-weekly cadence and all sorts of things. So uh, to look at what all of that required, I think you have to kind of take inventory of the human cost, right? Like it took a lot of work from us, from other parties we've been working with to make everything work for this year. And so taking this time to pause will allow us to give necessary attention to other projects that we're working on, and at that turn of the year, come back refreshed and really ready to keep on exceeding those heights and those standards that we set for ourselves.
Yeah, and I really like the point that you made there too, is like, taking that pause, take that moment to really then come back refreshed, because it's I think that's a thing that a lot of us don't necessarily think about, is like thinking about how could that feel, how could we feel refreshed, and especially when you're like I said, like able to dedicate and devote more time to other areas that definitely need that too. And so if anything from our experience and our decision in doing this, I hope that you can at least take away from what we're talking about here and what we're doing, and somehow look at your own lives and apply it that way to how your own projects and everything else. Because I think there's a lot that can really come out of that if you take that moment. And quite honestly, I would have to say a lot of us out there don't necessarily take that time that's required for yourself, for your own projects, for anything else. And it should be the case. And because I think of what happens to, at least for me personally, and Mustapha, you may relate to this or not. I think you would, but we like to put like a lot of others' needs before our own. And it's not to say that, and which is a good quality that a lot of us can have and everything. But at the same time, if you're always doing that, if you're always putting others before yourself, how are you going to better serve others if you can't serve yourself, right? So that's another way that I try to look at it too. And again, I don't want it to come off as if that mindset or whatever is self-serving, because it really isn't in the grand scheme of things. The best analogy that I can relate with here or share here is, if you're on an airplane and they tell you and if the bags dropped and and every time they tell you if that happens, take care of yourself first, because it's like if you don't put the oxygen bag over your mouth, then you're gonna pass out unless someone else is doing it for
you're
you.
Not gonna help. Exactly.
So that's the analogy I like to work with there too. But it's still a challenge too, I think, for a lot of us if that's the case. But still, it's even if that's a challenge, it's important to think that and really focus on yourself. And it's important because you have your own goals, you have your own ambitions and everything else. It's really good that you do what you need to do to really focus on those things. And it's not to say you don't care about anything else or whatever else is going on in your life or in your world, but it's just something that needs to be done on occasion. And that's essentially what we ended up deciding to do, is just take that quick break of 2 months, coming back at the beginning of the year. And we have a lot of fun things that we have planned going on. And Mustapha, buddy, please share a little bit of what you have in mind. Actually, let me step back, not necessarily for new things, because I think a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in our last update episode or season 2, I should say, those things are still going forward, but more so of we have something planned for the end of the year. So shine a little light on that and what you've envisioned for that.
So, last year we did a panel style end of year special, and that was a really good time, but it was something that was very involved, took a lot of planning, and I think given that we're kind of aiming to take a hiatus for some time here, we won't be producing necessarily new content for this year's end of year special, but rather we'll be creating really sort of a best of clip show, so to speak. So we're going to be taking pieces of advice that we feel are some of the most effective pieces that we've received this year. We'll be combining, audio from different episodes, and who knows, maybe, one point or another kind of chiming in with our input on that. But a lot of it's going to be kind of edited clips from previous episodes. Now, we have not yet made the selection on which clips we're going to be using for this end of year special. So based on that, we're kind of hoping to get some listener feedback If you have pieces of advice that you heard from episodes we've released this year that you feel resonated with you particularly well, please reach out to us on Twitter so that way we can ensure that we're incorporating kind of what everybody loved about this year's episodes. So that's IGM Podcast at IGM Podcast on Twitter, or you can reach out to me directly at Mustapha Price. I'm sure we'll have like handles or whatever in show notes for people or something. But yeah, whatever the case, please feel free to reach out. Let us know kind of what episodes this year really excited you, what pieces of advice you'd like to see used in this kind of best of compilation, and we'll be hoping to have that kind of as the final episode of the year.
Yeah, and it's a good way to kind of like not just close things, but I mean, there's a lot of different things that we talk about here, and I know I've talked to a lot of different listeners where they're saying it's like, each episode might like really cater to them at a specific point in their time and everything, and it's different for everybody, right? Sometimes like people are like, oh wow, this episode and that episode were in line with my thinking right now and stuff. So I think what's going to be really great, just by having you reach out and letting us know which of the episodes really resonated and were impactful for you, we can kind of create this, this kind of ensemble of like, end of year best clips that really resonated with you. So instead of having to like, I mean, of course, by all means, if you want to go back and listen to previous episodes, great. But just to have a good bite-sized full episode of all the important tidbits and everything else, I think that can really provide a lot of value for all of you and future listeners and everything else like that. So again, as Mustapha said, please reach out at IGM Podcast on Twitter. Let us know what those episodes are that you really liked, and we will put together a end of the year special that really focuses on those key moments, those moments that really resonated with you and were really impactful, and hopefully provide it in a very concise format that's in our own thoughts too, potentially to really like showcase what it is that what we're doing here for you all can encompass in just one little format for the end of the year. So really excited about having us put that together. And then, obviously looking forward to the next year, the new year coming around, and not just based off of our projects that we have going on and everything else, but also the future episodes, the new episodes, the new guests that we're going to have coming on the show. All really exciting stuff. And I'm sure, Mustapha, you feel the same way. There's a lot of other people we have lined up, and there's a lot of different topics that we haven't even covered yet that we're just there's just so much around the corner, or what the new year will bring.
Well said indeed.
So that's really it. This is just a quick update on where we're standing, that we are going on a hiatus, but don't fret, it's only going to be a short period of time. You can expect that other episode. Mustapha, when are we thinking that's going to be released? Probably closer to the end of the year, right? So we'll slate that for like December or sometime, correct?
Yeah, absolutely December, I would say.
Okay.
So if you have something to submit, I would say ideally, let's see, when's this episode going up? 26th. So I would say by the 26th of November, if you have any input or suggestions, to have them submitted to us by then.
Yeah, great. So as Mustapha said, reach out, IGM Podcast, or at IGM Podcast on Twitter. There'll be other means to contact us in the show notes as well too, and let us know what those episodes are, and we'll put together those clips and everything else. And again, it will be just a nice way to conclude the year with that those really helpful bite-sized pieces from the episodes in the past year. And outside of that, I mean,